I am thrilled to welcome Shehzad Poonawalla ji, a BJP national spokesperson, on a special session, The Winds of Change Post 2014 Bharat with Rohan. We welcome you on stage, sir.
Can I have your attention, please? As we proceed into one of the fascinating sessions with the firebrand BJP leader, may I also request for a small silence in observation of whatever has happened in Kerala about few hours ago. In fact, so much that I had to dispatch my reporter from here to Kochi, 4 hours from here, in the aftermath of the terror attack which has rocked Kochi, if you are not familiar with. And this comes after barely 12 hours after a pro-Hamas speech was allowed to be held in the state of Kerala, the first of its kind by the former chief of Hamas outfit. And this comes at a very crucial time when we all have foregathered here and assembled here to talk largely about the kind of oppressor these forces have been on us and on this country and on the neighboring countries as well. Shehzad, I mean, of course, this is a very terrible time when we have gathered here. Uh, so one woman has died and 25 have been grievously injured, of which 3 are critical, which also includes several children. And this happened on the Sunday morning prayer at a church where both Jews and Christians also live, but it was a faction of the Christians which was assembled there and has got grievous injuries. So this terror attack, of course, comes barely 12 hours after the former Hamas chief was addressing a virtual rally in Kerala. Imagine this is happening in India, where we take so much of pride in our democratic values, that we allowed this to perpetuate and allowed a rally to be held in the southern state, and then 12 hours later we are witnessing one of the most deadliest attacks in the recent history in Kerala. So all of this must provoke us to get angered, to also feel humiliated by the secular forces which have allowed this to perpetuate, whether it is one particular party in the national capital or that which operates in this state, that is Tamil Nadu, or that in Kerala. And if these three parties have colluded with each other to perpetuate this, then I think it's a very shocking state of affairs that it happens on a day when all of us have gathered to understand the gravity of this situation. Shehzad, I believe that since we are starting on a very sad note on this as well, may I also begin to ask you that what has led to the origin of India outfit coming as it does with the manifesto of Congress about 2 weeks ago? It released at the CEC meeting where they mentioned a support for the Palestinians, did not even deem it appropriate to condemn Hamas.
Well, first of all, beginning this topic and this discussion on a very somber note, but this is the proof of what happens when, in the name of vote bank politics, you compromise with hardline fundamentalist elements and you are in a state of denial about the real and imminent threat that these radical elements pose. Like you rightly mentioned, just about a few hours ago, the Kerala government, and I hold the Kerala government responsible, allowed the platforming of a terrorist, Khalid Mishal, who's one of the founders of the Hamas. And in that particular platform, which was accorded to him, if you notice very carefully, on the stage was a line called "Uprooting Bulldozer Hindutva." It was mentioned on the stage, "Uprooting Bulldozer Hindutva." I can imagine that you may have solidarity for Palestine. One can understand India historically has supported the Palestinian cause, and I can understand that some elements want to support the Palestinian cause. People would ask that where were you for the last 60 years? You didn't support this cause. Suddenly after 7th October, when the time was to take a position on Hamas's terrorist actions on 1400 innocent Israelis, at that time you bring in the Palestinian cause and you start crying about that. Well, that is still understood. But what is the connection of Hindutva with Palestine's cause and then giving a platform to Hamas? Is Hamas equal to Palestine? As far as I am concerned, West Bank does not have any Hamas. In fact, the Hamas has persecuted members of the Palestinian Liberation Organization and other elements who are in power in West Bank, which is a different area than Gaza, where the action is right now proceeding against terror groups by Israel. So why would you say that? And the link is very clear. Ever since the Mumbai meeting of the Indi Alliance, INDI Alliance took place, you must have seen a series of statements that were made about Sanatan Dharma. It started off by Udayanidhi Stalin. Thereafter, it was supported by Priyank Khadge, son of Mallikarjun Khadge. Then it was A. Raja who said that Sanatan and Hindu Dharma is like AIDS. In fact, there was an old video of A. Raja where he minced no words when he said that it is the Hindu religion or the Hindu Dharma which is a global menace. The Congress party, of course, has a long history of making such statements, right from denying Prabhu Shri Ram's existence, opposing the Ram Mandir, Hindu terror, trying to whitewash what happened in Kashmir, always trying to shift the blame onto Hindutva as being ISIS-like or Boko Haram-like, but never calling out Islamic Jihad. So that has been the long history of the Congress party, but one after the other, all the allies of the Indi Alliance, whether it's Samajwadi Party, whether it's the RJD, whether it's the Trinamool Congress, the Congress, DMK, all of them, as if acting in an orchestra or a concert, made these statements. And now when you link it to this program being held just a few hours ago in Kerala, where a message is being sent subtly that the manner of uprooting Hindutva is to do what Hamas did, to replicate that. And after that takes place, you immediately have a terror attack, because I don't think there is any doubt in anybody's mind now that this is a terror attack. From what I've heard of the agencies, they've said they have found that there is an IED involved, so it means it's a terror attack. It's not a short circuit or a fire or a gas cylinder. So hours after the Kerala government allows the platforming of a Hamas terrorist, where it said uproot Hindutva, immediately after that there is a terror attack where the targets could be Christians and Jews. It was a Jehovah's Witnesses conclave that was taking place. And I see that as a direct linkage or a direct incitement for that terrorism, and therefore I don't hold the Kerala government responsible for being ignorant. I hold the Kerala government responsible for being a conspirant, for being a conspirator in this entire matter. And now, just 5 minutes ago, I've just tweeted it, one of the ministers in the Kerala government, I'm not making it up, one of the ministers in the Kerala government about the unfortunate casualty has said, this lady has not died because of the blast, she has died because of the fire. And therefore, I can tell you the next statement that Kerala government will issue is that the 1400 Israelis were not killed by Hamas, they were killed by guns and knives. And guns and knives have no religion.
Which is, I mean, my next question to you, Shehzad, is that considering that these terror attacks, which were earlier very few and far between, the language, the tone and the tenor that you see of these outfits, the protests, the demonstrations which are being held in the national capital, the sponsorship has come in some way or the other by the likes of the Udayanidhi Stalin, who have directly taken this city where we are operating from right now, Coimbatore, where we are holding this session. The Chief Minister's son himself does not have any shame left in him to use the word malaria and dengue. Now, when such statements come, I want to understand from you politically, India's, that is India Alliance's strength. Where do you see, considering there are 5 back-to-back state elections, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, does BJP have it in itself to take on such people? Or, because of the poll losses which happened in Himachal and Karnataka, may give further setback to BJP, or does BJP have the firepower to take on these people?
First of all, the BJP is actually a party, and under Prime Minister Modi's leadership, we have a clear-cut mission and vision for the country. On the other hand, think about it, and we'll start from the north. In Jammu Kashmir, NC and PDP don't see eye to eye on a usual basis. They have come together. You go to West Bengal, Trinamool Congress, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, or Trinamool Congress and the left don't see eye to eye. They have come together. Then you come to Uttar Pradesh, and we've already seen what Akhilesh Yadav said about Congress in Madhya Pradesh and what Congress has said about Akhilesh Yadav. Let's not get into that, but usually they don't see eye to eye, especially after the debacle of UP ke do ladke, UP's two boys. After that debacle, they were not seeing eye to eye. They have come together. In Maharashtra, Uddhav Thackeray ji, who is the son of Bahasaheb Thackeray ji, who used to take credit for Ram Mandir movement, who used to say that we will not allow any kind of statement against Veer Savarkar ji, is today sitting in lap of those who call Veer Savarkar ji Kair and Darpok. They have come together. The same Uddhav ji and his father used to say, Mr. Pawar and his party is a party of rascals, and I would rather shut my shop than ever ally with them. They have come together. Then you go down further south, you will see that in Kerala, Congress and left have constantly fought elections against each other. They have come together. So first of all, it is these people, because they don't have mission and vision like Modi ji, they only have commission, family ka profession, apna ambition, and corruption. So all of this has made them to come together. So there is no question of BJP feeling afraid of them. They are very afraid of Modi, therefore they have come together. Now as far as this entire approach is concerned, first of all they have to fight elections together, then we will be able to take on them as a unit. In Madhya Pradesh they are not fighting together, they are fighting against each other. One is calling them Chirkut. I don't know what I should use for English word for Chirkut. Chirkut, anybody has a good English word for it? Anyways, I think the word is so universal that even people from Tamil Nadu will understand Chirkut what it means. So Chirkut is being said from one side, the other side is saying Akhilesh Vakhilesh. They are not fighting together. In Rajasthan, Aam Aadmi Party, they are fighting against Congress Party. In Chhattisgarh, Aam Aadmi Party is fighting against Congress Party. In Madhya Pradesh, they are fighting. So they are not fighting together as a unit. And again I tell you, please think about it. Ever since India Alliance, this news has started. From then to now, no logo. लोगों के लिए क्या करना है? Not clear. No logo. लोगों के लिए policy. Not clear. Neta. Not clear. They keep fighting about who will be the Neta. Niti. Not clear. What is your stand on Article 370, for instance? Because Aam Aadmi Party has supported its abrogation. Somebody else has said we will restore it. What is your position on OBC caste census? Trinamool Congress is dead hard against it. And Congress Party has now suddenly become a champion of OBC caste census after opposing Mandal Commission. So there is no clarity on Niti, Neta, Netritva. So they are not coming together. They are only there together because they hate one man. Because they hate one party and because they don't want India to progress. And today, if you think about it, I see this election, and I made this statement in Rajasthan also, I don't see this election as an election of 5 states or as an election of, say, Rajasthan or an election of India in 2024. Please understand, this is 2024 is not election between Congress and BJP. It is actually a clash of civilization. 2024 is clash of civilization. I'll tell you, Rohan, why. Just give me 1 minute for this. When the G20 meeting took place in Delhi, which was across the board celebrated worldwide for the historic successes that we had, the New Delhi Declaration, Biofuel Alliance, etc. Did you notice what happened in the G20? Prime Minister Narendra Modi invited the guests, and when they were coming to shake hands with him, behind him was the Konak wheel. Did you notice that? There has been a time in this country, Nehru ji had invited the Saudi king once to India in 1955, specifically to Kashi. And Nehru ji, what all he hid from the eyes of the Saudi king, and today in 2023, when Prime Minister Modi is standing with Mohammed bin Salman, he shows Mohammed bin Salman that this is our virasat, this is our tradition, this is our entire history, that at the time many people were saying world and earth is flat, we were calculating the distance of sun and moon and telling people the time 1500 years ago, thousands of years ago. We told that to Prince of Saudi Arabia, we told it to Joe Biden. Then when the delegates moved further to Bharat Mandapam, they saw statue of Nataraj. You know what is statue of Nataraj? Statue of Nataraj is not just a reflection of our astha. It is actually a reflection of how advanced our Sanskriti and our culture has been, even scientifically speaking, how Vigyan and Virasat go hand in hand along with Vishwas in India. The statue of Natarajji, the Ashtadhatu statue, it's the biggest statue in the world of that kind, has four hands, two right hands, two left hands. I don't need to tell you, Yola, there is one as we enter. Yes, so the two hands of Natarajji, the right hand, if you see, there is a damru. There's a damru, the musical instrument, which is shaped like an hourglass. It shows the continuity of time. The other hand is in Abhay Mudra. The left hand has fire, which symbolizes destruction and creation. And the lower left hand is in a downward position, which is signifying moksha. And the right leg is on the asur, that it has been able to take over all the evil asuras, he has been able to control it. And the ring of fire around Natarajji represents the continuous creation and destruction, just like the universe is continuously being created and destructed, which has been found out thousands of years ago by the scientists. And therefore, the same statue that we saw outside Bharat Mandapam is also outside the CERN office in Geneva, where subatomic particle research is being done by the world's most leading scientists. This is Indian culture. This is Bharatiya Sanskriti. And all of this is not happening in a vacuum. It is happening at a time when Konark is being shown, when Natarajji is being shown. At that time, our ISRO is also landing Chandrayaan 3 on the south side of the moon. And that point is called Shiv Shakti Point. And therefore, from G20 platform to the south side of the moon, Sanatan ka danka baj raha hai, Sanatan's flag is rising high. And Rohanji, Sanatan's flag is rising so high that a country which ruled over us for 200 years, namely Great Britain, when we have overtaken them in terms of becoming the 5th largest economy, they have had to find a Sanatani from somewhere कि आओ और हमारे देश को आगे ले जाओ. And they found a Sanatani. Sanatani ऐसा मिला, they found such a Sanatani. His name also has Sanatan, Rishi. And his slogan also has Sanatan. He says to Morari Bapu, Jai Siya Ram. And at that point, when the world from UK to G20 to Chandrama, everybody is seeing the rise of Sanatan, at that time there is an alliance which sits in Mumbai and says how to destroy Sanatan. And therefore I tell you, this is a clash of civilization. 2024 is not an election. It is a clash of ideas, whether the idea will be the idea presented by Swami Vivekanand, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the philosophy of Sanatan, or whether it will be the idea that in the same time period when the G20 took place in 2001, brought down 2 twin towers. It is a clash between these ideas. And this has to be understood. And I am telling you, as far as I can see, because the topic is winds of change. Now the wind is changing in such a way that till yesterday who were doing Rome, 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 today I have started doing Ram, 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 Ram. So, you know, very soon you will see these winds of change that are going to happen in many other households also.
My next question to you, Shehzad, since I'm wearing a journalist's hat today, is when I asked you this question that what should BJP do or what BJP is doing to counter the narrative which is being built by someone like Udayanidhi Stalin when he calls Sanatan malaria. Congress and other parties often accuse your party, that is the BJP, of using ED and CBI to arm twist these opposition parties. Why I'm asking this question is because since I have also reported extensively on some of the investigative scams involving Augusta Westland, 2G and Telecom, I often find it very unbelievable that for 5 years the government sits over these files, does not respond, and opposition then charges and accuses you that when the election approaches, you use EBI. I find that Sanatan is always with the BJP, but is ED and CBI also with the BJP?
Look, I have a solution for this if my friends in the India Alliance want to accept it. They never say that the allegations are wrong. They never say कि allegation गलत है. They say timing गलत है. If you think that every action is being driven by election, let us have one election, one nation. We will do one election, one nation. Then 4.5 years we will do development and the agencies will do their job. Now, as far as misuse of ED CBI is concerned, they don't answer this question, by the way, Shefali. When I tell them one nation, one election chalega, then 4.5 years we'll do work, we will do raids, whatever happens will happen, and then 6 months we will do election, everything will stop. So they say, no. Then this is okay. Anyway, the point that I was trying to make is that misuse of CBI and ED, before 2014, who was being acted upon by the same agencies which were under Congress government, which it was also called cage parrot. Congress party was under the scanner, people went to jail. DMK leaders were under the scanner, they went to jail. Samajwadi party was under the scanner, disproportionate assets case. Lalu Prasad was under the scanner, RJD was under the scanner, Laluji went to jail, was convicted first time in 2013. After that, you have TMC, which was under the scanner because of many other corruption cases in Bengal. Today also, the same parties are under the scanner. If it was being misused, or it was in that way that there was corruption in the BJP, where it is not being used against the BJP leaders, then you had a government between 2004 to 14. If the BJP leaders were corrupt, what stopped you from putting them in jail? And it's not that they did not try to put people in jail. They tried all their tricks against Prime Minister Modi. He is the most hounded chief minister who was subjected to all kinds of inquiries in the 2002 case, which the Supreme Court finally said that there was no connection with the chief minister's office. Amit Shah ji was hounded. That case has also not stood in the court of law. But your cases not only stand in the court of law, the court tells you when you go as 14 parties to the court saying that ED is hounding us, they tell you that, sorry, this is not acceptable. You have to come up with something specific. And by the way, Congress party, when Manish Sisodia goes to jail under the same ED, they say very good. When Sonia Gandhi is acted upon by the ED, they say very bad. Aam Aadmi party, when the same ED takes action against Chhattisgarh CM, they have come on record to say that their liquor ghotala in Chhattisgarh is a very big ghotala. Look, Aam Aadmi party's confidence. They have done liquor scam in Delhi. They are saying liquor scam in Chhattisgarh is very big, and therefore ED must arrest Bhupesh Baghel. At that time, ED becomes very good. And when action is taken against Sanjay Singh and he still not got bail, and the court has said that, you know, stop making these excuses, and you are prima facie involved in this, and therefore answer for it. At that time, ED becomes very bad. So I think this conditional commitment that sometimes ED is good, sometimes CBI is bad, this should stop. It is their hypocrisy. And in fact, finally, just a last point on this. If they had any proof against any BJP leader, why do they waste their breath and energy on television? Even the courts of law, they keep praising all kinds of benches of the courts. So they should go to their favorite bench and they should file a petition that, look, this agency has not been taking action. Here is the proof. In 9-10 years, not single case against whom they make allegations has been taken to one court of law. Not one case. So I think it is only a victimhood card that they play and nothing else in it.
That also sort of brings me to a very interesting question, which many in the audience also had asked me to ask you. That coming as it does these EDI and CBI inquiries, one of the fascinating inquiries which has gripped the conscience of this nation is the one which has been commissioned against TMC MP Mahua Moitra. Now, this TMC MP a year and a half back, as you all know, had also made some uncharitable remarks on Durga, saying that she is a meat-eating and a liquor-drinking goddess. As a proud Hindu and as a journalist, separate identities, I would not have accepted either of the two statements. But I want to understand from you that, is it because of her attack on a private company that she's been targeted, or also because of the fact that she has been carrying these Louis Vuitton bags that must be investigated?
I think many people are now realizing where the Louis Vuitton came from. See, there's no question of targeting anybody for anything. First of all, if that company which she raises questions against is a company that should be held responsible for all acts of corruption, then why has Mamata Banerjee allowed investment of 10,000 crores in West Bengal and given Tajpur port to that group? This is very curious. I have always heard secular communal narrative in many issues. First time I am seeing secular corruption and communal corruption. This means that if Adani invests in a BJP ruled state, it is communal, it has to be targeted. But Adani investment in Rajasthan, secular hai. Adani investment in Chhattisgarh, secular hai. Adani is given the Virinium port in Kerala, ati secular hai. Adani is given Dighi port in Maharashtra by Uddhav Sena, secular hai. Given Tajpur port in Bengal, secular hai. So ye kaise? How is Adani partly corrupt in some places and partly not corrupt? Don't understand it. By the way, the TMC itself and the India Alliance is not on one page even on this. The India Alliance initially said, Mallikarjun Kharge, Congress party leader, I call him leader because president is, nominal president of the Congress party said that we will either want a Supreme Court probe or a JPC in this, or is the functional word. Now, Supreme Court was approached by a Congress leader from Madhya Pradesh, we want probe on Adani. Supreme Court instantly asked for a probe on Adani. A committee was constituted which includes the likes of Nandan Nilekani and many other stalwarts from various industries and fields, including judges and former judges of the courts. The report was submitted to them. After going through that report, the committee concluded that there is nothing that is amiss in a regulatory pattern. Now, once you have asked for the Supreme Court probe, your leader has gone and filed a petition in the Supreme Court for that probe. Because the result is not the desired result, you change the goalpost. And TMC, in all of this, the TMC had a very unique stand. TMC said neither Supreme Court, neither JPC, every state which has given project to Adani should investigate it in their state. Now I ask them, have they investigated in Rajasthan? Have you investigated in Chhattisgarh? Unfortunately, when I have these debates, I am having it with Supriya Shrinet. So you can know what is the response. So apart from calling us Nalika Kida, Ganda and all these abusive words, no answer comes, and then this is the reality of that situation. By the way, Adani was not formed after 2014. Adani got first port, Mundra port, under Congress. Adani started buying coal from Indonesia under Congress. Adani became biggest thermal power plant producer under Congress. Adani got 6 SEZ ports under SEZ zones under Congress. What do we say about Congress?
One of the other interesting questions which people also ask me to ask you is that.
But I did not answer about Mahua Mitra. So let me explain about Mahua. No, because we had to explain about Adani first. So Mahua Mitra is a very interesting case. Mahua Mitra has now got 2 people who have confessed against her. One is her personal friend who was known to her, and the other person is her close friend Darshan Hiranandani, who has given it on an affidavit. And both of them have said that she has taken money for asking questions on behalf of one group to target the other group. They have listed out items which were given to her, Ferragamo shoes, I don't even know the spelling, except for Bata shoes, I don't know which is the simplest to spell and wear. Bags, other things, money. Sorry? We'll come to Henry also. We'll come to Henry. We have to come to Henry also. I mean, after all, dog is a man's best friend. From the videos, it doesn't look he's her best friend. But anyways, I'm going to get into trouble, huh? I might be accused of sexism. Now, anyways, so this allegation was also made. And thirdly, and the most important allegation was that there was a parliamentary login that every member of parliament has that was given over to somebody else to handle and to use it for asking whatever questions they wanted to target a particular entity or a group. And now Mahua Mitra, instead of answering these questions in the ethics committee, goes to 2 channels to do interviews where she has time. And you can understand what kind of interviews were done from the personalities who are interviewing her. And she goes there and she makes a claim that I gave my login, but the OTP was with me. the giving of the login itself is an egregious offense that you have given it to somebody who's operating from foreign soil. Please imagine if it would have been a BJP MP who would have given his password login to a corporate foreign entity in exchange of any quid pro quo. These same very people would have been dancing on the streets of Delhi that he has to resign. And today the very same people are giving justification about OTP. And finally, even Mamata Banerjee does not buy all these lousy arguments. Mamata Banerjee has done 3 press conferences on Jyoti Priya Malik. There's a minister who got arrested in their government. A minister got arrested. They have done 3 press conferences. On Mahua Moitra, they say no comments. So either they feel Mahua Moitra's battle against that group is not a legitimate battle, or else they know what she has done. First time I have seen, since I am a small Karyakarta of BJP, I don't have a house in Delhi. So we hire a car, hire a house, rent a house. First time I have seen rent a MP. This rent a MP model of Mahua Moitra. Imagine Nadiad district people voted her, they are the most poorest, one of the poorest sections. They voted her ki madam will go ask question for us. Madam went with Louis Vuitton bag and she is allowing questions of Darshan Hiranandani because he lost a port to the other rival. So this is what is happening, and all of this is covered under secularism and fascism ka narrative. Because Modi ji is a fascist, Darshan Hiranandani was asking questions.
So Shehzad, of course that we accept the fact, we see to this that ED and CBI are not being misused by the BJP. For a minute we accept to this. But opposition also accuses the BJP, the party which you come from, of not even inviting them to the inauguration of the Ram Temple on 22. The inauguration went straight away to the Prime Minister. How do you look at this sort of disparity?
I am very happy that today, imagine the change in the scenario. Once upon a time, these people who constitute India Alliance, they used to say, Mile Mulayam Kanshi Ram, Hawa mein ud gaye Jai Shri Ram. Mile Mulayam Kanshi Ram, Hawa mein ud gaye Jai Shri Ram. अब ऐसी स्थिति आई है, कहाँ है मुलायम, कहाँ कांशी राम, सब मिलके बोल रहे हैं जय श्री राम. I am very happy. Only thing, this is not invitation given by government to Prime Minister. It has been given by Ram Kshetra Trust, Ram Janmabhoomi Kshetra Trust to Prime Minister. Now, as far as I understand, now I am a Muslim, but as far as I understand, the trust can only give the invitation to those who have belief in Prabhu Ram. Now, if you have given affidavit saying Prabhu Shri Ram does not exist, or if your leaders continue to say, and recently DMK Ellen Govan has said that he is a mythical character, hasn't he said it? And Congress has accepted it. Congress said, yes, we have originally said that this is all myth. Manishankar Iyer said, kaun se kamre mein, which room Mr. Prabhu Shri Ram was born in. They have said that Ram Setu was destroyed by Prabhu Shri Ram itself. And they have said all kinds of statements about Prabhu Shri Ram. If they are willing to accept that all those statements are wrong, and Sonia ji is ready to say Jai Shri Ram, I am sure the Ram Janmabhoomi Trust will consider inviting them also. But you can't invite a non-believer in a place where believers are going to gather. So, are they willing to say Jai Shri Ram?
I'm sure they will be.
Have they given any contribution for the mandir? I have also donated. What have you donated? They should show the slip if they have donated. It's a public donation. They could have donated.
Shehzad, but what actually disturbs me, not the fact that, these people have said Jai Shri Ram or not, but even some from your own party, BJP, have at times heard the feelings of the collective Hindu sentiments. For example, I'll give you one example recently. A party spokesperson from your party, Gaurav Bhatia, he made some uncharitable remarks against a Pakistani Hindu to the effect, I'm sure this is a googly for you, you may want to skip it.
I play all balls with the straight bat. I'm reluctant to comment on a colleague, but...
No, but why I want to bring this comment is that those comments sparked a controversy in this country, that it looked like the man was almost demeaning the efforts by a man who is fighting in his own country against oppressor regime, being a sole Hindu cricketer who has represented his country, but has taken up the cudgels against a very fascist regime there. So I don't understand.
Let me put it this way. I don't think, first of all, you should take statements of spokespersons, including mine or anybody else's on Twitter, to be a serious statement by a political party. The political party speaks through us only when it designates us to speak for it. For instance, I am here, I am speaking for myself. When I am on television, the party has mandated me to speak. So consider my statements to be the party statements only when the party has mandated me. Otherwise, I may have the badge, but I don't have the mandate. Having said that, let me address the larger issue, where I slightly differ, and I can differ with my colleagues on it. I think that the principle that Mr. Bhatia extended in the tweet was that because a certain person belongs to this country, he said that we will sort out things with her, you mind your own business, and otherwise we'll throw you out of the arena or something like that, he said. My philosophy towards this, or my approach towards this, and I could be faulted for it, and people are free to decide which approach is right. I give you a situation. A terror attack is happening on India, and an Israeli who's not an Indian citizen informs us that terror attack is going to happen. Because of his help, we are able to stop the terror attack. This is an Israeli who has helped us. On the other hand, there is an Indian, Dawood Ibrahim, who has done a terrorist act inside India. Just because Dawood Ibrahim is Indian, should I stand with Dawood Ibrahim? This is the principle. It is not about who is Indian. Afzal Guru is Indian. Yaqub Memon was Indian. Dawood Ibrahim is Indian. Arfa Khanam Sherwani is Indian. Their acts are not Indian. And that person is an Israeli. That person is a Hindu from Pakistan, Kanaria. But his acts are Indian. And therefore I go by acts of the person, not by chance birth of a person. ये तो चांस से पैदा हो गए ना, इनका तो बस चलता कि कहाँ लैंड होना है, तो they would have landed up in some other part of the world. They would have never chosen India. She is Indian by chance. I don't stand with Indians by chance, because you have a daily choice to make where you run down the country, you are abusing Bharat, you are undermining Bharat, and on the other side, that person whose community has come down from 23% to 3% stands and defends the idea of Bharat and calls out the idea of Pakistan. So I would rather think that an external friend is a friend of India, not an internal enemy. Just because she happens to be Indian, or just because Dawood Ibrahim happens to be Indian.
So one last question from my side, then I'll open it to the audience. Since the session's name is also Bharat First Forward, and the theme of this event as well. 2024 elections, just about 6 months to go from here on. Why do you think BJP should return to power? 5 reasons, and the challenges which are going to emerge with the wins by the Congress in Karnataka and Himachal Pradesh, or the sitting governments in Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh.
Look, there are many more reasons. 5 reasons are too little, but let me give you the 5 most prominent reasons why the Bharatiya Janata Party should return to power or return to service. We had an economist as the Prime Minister between 2004 to 14. The economist made us fragile 5 as an economy. Today we are the fastest 5. We have gone from 10 to 5th, and in the next couple of years we will go to 3rd position as an economy. Reason number 1. Reason number 2. This country, before Modi took over, had a sanitation coverage of 35%. There weren't enough toilets, and particularly for women in villages, to not be able to use a toilet at your will, to go in the morning or to go in the late evening because you can't go during daytime. The consequences it has on your health and your security. The thousands and thousands and thousands of our women who have been subjected to this kind of monstrosity. Today we have 100% toilet coverage. Women in this country were relegated to, and we are a patriarchal society due to many reasons that were imposed upon us because of thousands of years of slavery. Otherwise, this is the only country in civilization that prays to women as God and considers female form of goddesses. No other religion allows that space. No other culture allows that space. But because of whatever we have gone through, because of that we have seen that women are subjected to fetching pail of water, filling water, doing house chores, cooking the food, and nobody cared about their health. And today 10 crore Ujjwala cylinders and 11 crore tap water connections means that those women who are still subjected to spending their time in the kitchen can today save that time, save their health and become permanent commissioned officers in the armed forces, or they can take use of the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam that we have passed and come to parliament. This is what Modi has done for the women of this country. This is the second reason. The third reason is, close your eyes and think once. 2014 से पहले, blast in Chennai, blast in Varanasi, blast in Pune, blast in Mumbai, blast in Lucknow, blast in Delhi, blast in Jaipur, blast in Coimbatore. All the places used to see deadly terror strikes every 2 or 3 weeks. And when 26/11 happened, and this is a story closer for us, especially who come from Maharashtra, we have lost our family and friends. We had an ineffectual government where the air chief says to the Prime Minister that, Prime Minister, here are the camps. We must go bomb those camps after 26/11. And the Prime Minister, who had to always look over his shoulder for a nod from somewhere else, does not give the go-ahead. And we give MFN, most favored nation status, to Pakistan. Today, when surgical strike takes place, or when Pulwama takes place and we do a Balakot airstrike, it is not MFN status, it is MTJ status, Muh Tod Jawab status. So now Pakistan or anybody who dares to look at us will get MTJ, Muh Tod Jawab, Modi ka jawab. So this is third point. Fourth point, and be very honest. Prior to 2014, did you ever think Article 370 would be abrogated? Today, Article 370 has been kicked into the dustbins of history, and from Lal Kila in Delhi to Lal Chowk in Kashmir, Bharat Mata ki jai bhi bolte hain aur tiranga bhi लहराता है. और ये तो राहुल जी went for Bharat Jodo Yatra, although he should go for Indi Jodo Yatra. Should start Indi Jodo. पहले Indi को तो जोड़ दो. Indi वाले ही लड़ रहे हैं एक दूसरे से in Punjab, Delhi, etc. When Rahul ji also went there, he has confirmed. Last time brother sister went, they were playing with snowballs. And now when he last time went, he has said that I could only see Tiranga, Tiranga, Tiranga. When his government was there, they could only see the Pakistani flags or the ISIS flags. Today they are seeing Tiranga, Tiranga, Tiranga. First it was PPP, Parivarvad, Pakistan Parasti and Patharbaji. Today it is DD, Development and Democracy. From 3 families, the power has shifted to 30,000 people who have been elected in Jammu Kashmir. And by the way, they keep talking about Dalit rights, Dalit lives matter. For the first time in 70 years, with the Ashirwad of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, the Dalit Valmiki community of Jammu Kashmir has got the right to vote. So they must support it. All the Ambedkarites, etc. should support it. And last and final reason. And the last and final reason, you don't have to wait for 2024 elections. You only have to wait for January 22nd. Before this, Ram Lala was in a tambu, in a tent, and on January 22nd, Ram Lala will be in a Gagan Chumbi, Bade se Bada Mandir, the biggest mandir in India and the world. And you think about it. First we used to say India is recognized by what? They would talk about one mausoleum, one white color mausoleum in Uttar Pradesh. कि India का मतलब India यही है. Today when we talk about India, then we show them Kashi Vishwanath Dham, we show them Mahakal Lok in Ujjain, we show them the Ram Mandir that is coming up, and for the first time after independence, in this Navaratri, for the first time near the LOC, we have had the Navaratri Puja that has taken place in the Mandir of Ma Sharda that has taken place along the LOC in Kupwara. Any of this could have been imagined in before 2014, and today you can not only imagine it, you can see it happening in your eyes. And therefore, for this to continue, there has to be a government that believes. We don't believe in favoring anybody. We don't say Tushtikaran, we say Santushtikaran. Whoever is there, for us, it is the Garib, it is the poor that we want to work for, and we want to make this country a developed country, a strong country, a country with such a strong foreign policy that both Ukraine president and Russian president call up whom? Prime Minister Modi. Now also, the only country in the world, and not even Mr. Biden, not even Rishi Sunak, not even Macron, not even Nanihal ki Pradhan Mantri Meloni ji, they can speak to Israel. They can't speak to Palestine. Only Prime Minister Modi can call Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu. He can have conversation with Mahmoud Abbas. He can have conversation with Jordan King. He can have conversation with Al-Sisi. This is because of India's credibility and clout in the last 8-9 years that has developed. And for all these reasons and many more reasons, I think the Bharatiya Janata Party has to continue to be in service of the people.
Thank you so much, Shehzad, for exhilarating session and also giving a prompt to most of these people in the audience to be there on January 22. I'm sure some of them will be readily agreeing to be there at the Ram Temple inauguration. We can ask some of...
Even if you're not there at the inauguration of Ram Temple, every person's mind, now a Ram Temple has been consecrated and constructed forever, and that Ram Temple can never be taken away from us ever again.
Quick question, Shehzad.
Yes.
In the run-up to the elections of 2024, will a 10-year-old request, a yearning of all Hindus, will that happen? Release all Hindu temples from government control?
That question won't be answered or addressed in this election simply because it's not a election issue or it is not an election subject of the central government. Temple controls, if you see constitutionally speaking, strictly comes under the state list. I can assure you one thing, that the Bharatiya Janata Party government, see, at many times, if you remember, there's a speech of Modi ji, he was in one of these sessions like this. And at that time, must have been before he was CM, somebody asked him that, will you remove 370? So he said, देखिए जनता ने अभी, how much ever जनता has given us support, it was during Vajpayee ji's government time. He said, they have given us mandate to this extent. So probably right now we can't do it with this mandate to remove 370. The day we get the required mandate, we will do it. I therefore appeal to you that give us the required mandate, not just in 2024 in the government of India, but governments of the states, and you will see that all these changes will take place and will be done.
I have a question for you, Shehzad. I totally understand that you're saying that 2024 is a clash of civilization and it is imperative for Bharat's future that this government comes back to power with a thumping majority. But having said that, I live in a state called Maharashtra. And where I see the compromises that are being made for the sake of getting those X number of seats, and everything that you stood against as a party and everything as a citizen I stand against, those same elements are back and we are supposed to be quiet and we are supposed to, even support. So tomorrow if one of the candidates stands in Pune, in my constituency, and I don't like him, I don't like his party, I don't like his philosophy, but just because it is 2024 election, I will vote and I will vote. But the point is, to what extent do we go for these compromises?
You see, I don't call these compromises. If you see Prabhu Shri Ram is called Maryada Purushottam. Shri Krishna is not called Maryada Purushottam, he is called Leela Purushottam. Prabhu Shri Ram never broke any rules to vanquish Ravan. Prabhu Shri Krishna did not break rules, but he mended the rules so that the Kauravas could be vanquished. And therefore, I think that this is not compromise, this is inspiration from Prabhu Shri Krishna. Sometimes you have to, in the world of politics, be Leela Purushottam, not Maryada Purushottam. And at right time, right decisions are taken. Sometimes I'll also tell you, it's not just for sake of small gains or small seats, etc. Many people feel that why for small number of seats you all do this. Let me give you an example of Punjab. For a very long time we had alliance with Akali Dal. What did we gain in that alliance of Akali Dal? Nothing. BJP was always relegated to second position. BJP used to hardly get any positions in the government of Akali BJP. The reason why that alliance was done is because BJP put national interest, the interest of keeping Sikh Hindu solidarity intact, and therefore we were in that alliance for a very long period of time. And therefore many of these alliances, sometimes on the face of it, it looks like to be a compromise. But there are larger issues, I'm not saying in this case there must be or there must not be. In every case it's a different situation and one examines it on that case to case basis. But there are many cases where it's not just political interest or that small short-term interest, it is the long-term interest also that parties consider and take forward. And I think the bigger achievement that has to be done is to vanquish the Kauravas, and therefore Krishna ji will permit us to show little bit of Leela in this case.
Hello. Sir, we have seen Article 370 gone. When will we see a uniform civil code?
I think those who, we already have uniform civil code, it's there in the constitution already, by the way. The uniform civil code is already part of the constitution. Our founding fathers put it in that. It is about implementation of uniform civil code. And as far as the implementation of uniform civil code is concerned, the Bharatiya Janata Party has gone extremely ahead in Uttarakhand, wherein the drafts have been created. In Assam, we have started one version of it. In Gujarat, we have taken it forward because these are direct. UCC currently comes under directive principles of state policy. So it would be better for state governments to take it forward. And having said that, even at the central level, as you know, as you must be aware, the Law Commission started a fresh discussion on it. Although first it had rejected it, now the Law Commission commissioned another study. Its report is in the stage of finalization. Once the report comes, obviously the government will consider that report and will take forward steps on that. But the question today should be that on the principle of UCC, where does everyone stand? We stand with the principle of UCC. We stand with the Constitution of India. But the Congress party has always and always, in the sake of vote bank politics, has subjected women to the altar of this political game. In Shah Banu, you know what they did against the Supreme Court verdict. In Shaira Banu, when the triple talaq verdict came, they were standing against it. In Goa, the UCC came through the Portuguese, but it was then there and the Congress government was there. So how come that UCC was secular? And today we say that let there be UCC, you say it's communal or it's to target a community. And by the way, whoever opposes UCC, Uniform Civil Code, you tell them only one thing. We accept we will not have UCC, then why should we have Uniform Criminal Code also? I think somebody's criminal code says, चोरी करोगे तो हाथ काटेंगे, rape करोगे तो कुछ और होगा consequence. Then if you belong to that category, that should be the treatment to you. And if some Ravi or Kishan or some other person is caught robbing, his thing will be different. Will they accept? They don't want Uniform Criminal Code. Indian Penal Code is Uniform Criminal Code. Why those people who are saying UCC aega, so it will be communal project, it will be against our faith, they never say it for Uniform Criminal Code, which is already existing. So this is their hypocrisy. Yes.
So the next question from my side is like the Supreme Court has given orders to the central government to declare the Hindus a minority in of the states. So has there been any further developments? Has there been any submission from the government on this regard?
I'm not sure the Supreme Court has given any such direction to the center.
They have submitted a...
No, there's no direction from the Supreme Court as far as my knowledge goes. I don't think there, but let me address the larger issue. There is no definition of minorities in our constitution, by the way. Our constitution is absolutely silent on the definition of minorities. It refers to minorities in two contexts, linguistic and cultural minorities. That's the only reference to it. The Supreme Court subsequently has come up with a definition of minorities, interpreting various laws, that anybody whose population is above 50% constitutes a minority. But then that calculation or that tabulation, I would argue, why should it be done at a national level? It should be done at a state level.
Exactly.
So if you do that tabulation, because if you do it at a national level, then you will result in a situation where a particular community is a majority in one state, but it enjoys the benefits of being a minority because it's a minority at a national level. And whereas a community may be a majority in a national level or national context, but in several states across the country, they are in a minority, and therefore they would deserve the rights of being a minority. And frankly, I think that there should be no categorization of majority and minority. First of all, this country needs to get out of this sense. There is no majority and minority. There is one majority and then there is second majority. I mean, if after being 20 crores, you consider yourself minority, then I think you have to examine the entire narrative. How come no Jain or Parsi ever says I'm in minority?
Yes.
And I remember Shefali has spoken quite a bit on Parsis and where we come from. Parsis are thriving and they are richest. Poonawalla, the real Poonawalla, and his Serum Institute and the vaccines, they don't see them. This minority complex we have to get out of. All people have to get out of that we are in a minority. The only minority in this country are the poor people of this country who need the hand holding, who the Prime Minister is giving hand holding to.
This is more related to the security apparatus. So on the Kashmiri Hindus, on the Kashmiri Pandits, we often see encounters, they are being encountered from time to time. And then we have seen severe security measures being put in place, combing operation, encounters, we losing our soldiers, best of the para assets also losing some of the best of the men. What is the long-term plan? Is there a plan to arm the basic arms training to the Kashmiri Hindus and Pandits, or there is something more to it, or there is some fencing which is going to happen? What is the long-term plan?
Let me address this in a little detail. First of all, let me draw a parallel which these Islamists get so wild when they are on television debates with me. They keep crying, we are crying for Palestine, we are crying for Palestine. I say, fair enough. India's position is that we support a two-state theory where Israel and Palestine peacefully coexist. And this entire situation is resolved through a negotiated peace settlement. There's no space for violence. Anyways, so I asked them, why do you support Palestine? अरे नहीं, Palestine पर जो कब्जा हुआ है, इतना दर्द है. कब्जा हुआ है, occupied land है. हाँ, occupied land है. Who's occupied it? The Israelis have occupied it. I say then, a few thousand years ago, what was Kashmir? Hindu majority or Muslim majority? Pin drop silence. I said they had 7 genocides. Pin drop silence. And the last genocide was under your government, Congress government. Pin drop silence. I said, forget it. We are not telling the Kashmiri Hindus to arm themselves like Hamas and do what they do. संस्कृति और मानसिकता का अंतर है. कुछ लोग बम और गोली की ही भाषा जानते हैं, कुछ लोग बोली से जानते हैं. तो जिसकी जो भाषा, जिसकी जो संस्कृति, वो वही करेगा. अब हमास की संस्कृति परवरिश, their entire orientation is towards war and destruction. So they will pick up a gun. And the Kashmiri Hindu or the Hindu community's entire orientation is towards construction, not destruction. So he will not pick up a gun. He will make another bigger, better place wherever he settles, and that is the history of Hindus. But I said, for argument's sake, should we allow the Kashmiri Hindus to go and claim their occupied land in the manner in which Hamas claims that it is doing? नहीं भाई साहब, ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता. So, this is the hollowness of their, first of all, their argument. Secondly, as far as the Kashmiri Hindu issue is concerned, the Kashmiri Hindu issue will not be solved by building a conclave or one rehabilitation center. Before rehabilitation should be repentance. पुनर्वास से पहले पश्चाताप जरूरी है. If they see Kashmiri Files as a movie and they say this is propaganda, the Kashmiri Hindu, how will he go to a place, to a person who denies the entire genocide committed against him? You tell me, can a Jew be settled in a place where the person says Holocaust did not happen? If I am a Holocaust denier and I say the Holocaust never happened to you, Jew, how will the Jew live with me? Because he will always feel a sense of threat and I will always see him as an oppressor. No, even though the reality is that he is the oppressor, I am the oppressor. And this mindset has to change. And this mindset change has to be effected, and this change of mindset will not happen in 5 years. It's a mindset that actually does not even date back to just 70 years. It's a mindset that goes back thousands of years. And therefore, this 1,000-year mindset has to be cleansed and has to be oriented to the philosophy of Bharat, where the philosophy of Bharat is that all right, now we are in a constitutional scheme. We are not in a scheme where people capture each other's lands. So we have to move by constitutional means. But even in that constitutional means, everywhere where there has been a settlement, there has been truth and reconciliation. At the beginning, when apartheid ended, there was truth and reconciliation to acknowledge what happened to the black community. Unless you acknowledge and unless you repent that this was happening, this happened when you shouted Ralif Salif Gali from the masjid and you said either you leave or you leave with your wives being left here or your daughters being left here. If you don't leave, we will kill you like we killed Mr. Ganju, like we killed Mr. Tikku. Unless you repent that, because you are all partners in it. There is no, it was not done by one terrorist. It was supported by the entire civil society. Read the papers, including the newspapers that was run by Congress people. Exactly the same language that was used against the Jews before the Holocaust was used against the Kashmiri Hindus. And therefore, till the time you acknowledge it, it can't be solved. And therefore, I feel that the way to solving any crisis is the acknowledgement of the situation. And that's when you can then think of settling them, whether in conclaves or other ways. That is secondary. First, you acknowledge you have done something so egregious to a community in the name of religion.
But unfortunately, Shehzad sir, I was in IIT Kanpur only a month back, and what I heard from them, students union.
एकाध आईआईटी में जाएंगे तो एकाध की डिग्री सर्टिफिकेट कैंसिल करने का बोल देना आप वहाँ पे.
एक का मैं बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, वहाँ से जो खबर आया है.
You didn't get my joke.
What I wanted to share is the Kashmiri Muslim students who are there, they have a separate ghetto over there. And even today, they are celebrating, the victories of Pakistan. Or whatever.
I think, unfortunately, I think I don't look at issues as religion specific, I look at them as mindset specific. I believe a lot of people in the match of Pakistan versus Afghanistan were very disappointed, and this was a very educated crowd that had gone to watch the match, were very disappointed Pakistan lost. I mean, why? And even if somebody's supporting a team because it's your religious preference in Pakistan, Afghanistan, technically you should have supported Afghanistan. They are more hardcore when it comes to those faith and beliefs. Anyway, so it's not about religion, it's just about political convenience. And I think this poison needs to be removed and cleansed. And that poison will take some time. I'll give you an example of it, just one last example, because I can see that they want to move on with the sessions. The one example today I give you is that there was a time in Jammu Kashmir where you have seen the kind of reaction a lot of things gave. There was stone pelting. Today the stone pelting has stopped. Terrorism is down to 2 or 3 districts. Of course they attack some places, but the number of terrorists who can join is very, very low. And now, if you know the recent shahadat that took place, there was a official of the Jammu Kashmir police. You've all heard about rifleman Aurangzeb. So you see, there are people who eulogize Aurangzeb and they go to his qabr. And there is also an Aurangzeb with the same name fighting for Ma Bharti. So it is more about which mindset you want to keep. And that change will happen. It is happening in Jammu Kashmir after the abrogation of Article 370.
It was a marvelous session with you, sir. Thank you. I call upon Srimati Aishwarya S. Rao to felicitate Shehzad Poonawalla ji and Mr. Unni to facilitate Rohan Dua ji.
As politicians, we are very used to being felicitated. So I always wait till all of it is over. ये पत्रकार है बेचारे इसको निकल गए. माला, पुष्प गुच्छ, everything has to come. Thank you. Thank you. Rohan is more busy in Kerala story. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rohan.